Hi, welcome to Easy Farms. I'm Christy.
I'm Les.
And we just we got to thinking because recently we went to a farmer's market and we were part of that farmer's market and we met this couple, young couple, very young couple, and they were talking to us about wanting to start homesteading. And we were listening to this couple speak and they were talking about the fact that they've been actually studying and following people because they learned that we rotationally graze our chickens and our sheep and things like that. So they were talking about that, some of the stuff they've been looking into, and that they wanted homestead, but they've been doing the research of it for like 2 years. And I was really impressed. Les and I were standing there and we were really impressed about the fact that this couple was taking that kind of time to look into it and asking questions. And we were talking about it the next day about how we started homesteading about 27 years ago. And we didn't have that type of resources everybody has today and that's readily available to them for information.
Didn't have YouTube like that back then.
No, the social media, none of that. We did have a few friends.
It was dial-up.
Yeah. Well, even at that, we didn't have all the information.
Right.
Even at slow dial-up, the information wasn't. You needed to know somebody, or there was a book you read, about it. And we had some friends that were.
They grew up in the country and lived in the country, and we had just moved to that area. And going over to their house, we would, they'd have chickens in the yard running all over. They had little goats, they were like dwarf goats. They were little bitty things.
Yeah, several.
More pet than any kind of food you'd ever get from them. And a garden, and we were like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
So we moved, that was in 99 we moved out to the next county out from where we lived. And we thought, hey, let's get chickens. Right? Because chickens are kind of that gateway animal to homesteading. So we had an old storage building out in the backyard that came with the property. And we cut a hole in the side of it, built a chicken wire cage on the side of it, and bought some chickens, built some nesting boxes.
No, we didn't even build nesting boxes.
Yeah, not at first.
We didn't even understand all of that as far as that. We basically were winging a lot of stuff because this family did a lot of stuff really old school, nothing really nice and fancy and new. You just kind of did it.
Basic.
You did very extremely basic.
Yeah.
But there was a lady that we had heard speak one time, and
she came to our church.
And we heard her speak, and she had she really was really intrigued and piqued our interest in moving into homesteading.
Her name was Carla Emery. She's since passed away, but she had a book. Was it Farmyard in Your Backyard?
I don't know about that. I do. I know she had Encyclopedia
Outdoor Living.
It's out. Okay, that was it.
Yeah.
Homesteading. The word homesteading wasn't a big thing back then. You just had a farm. So hers was just Encyclopedia Outdoor Living. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of information in that book, and we went through it frontwards and backwards and kind of did our own thing, and it goofed up, and we kind of undid our own thing and then redid our own thing.
So one of the reasons we wanted to talk about this was some of the things that we wished we'd have known better. And even the thing about homesteading and doing, no matter what we're doing, but we're talking homesteading right now, is the fact, going back to this young couple, they were looking into it. They were asking questions. They were reading books. They were following successful people on YouTube, reading their stuff, learning about it, and they were trying to figure some things out. So one of the things we talked about, that if we were to give one piece of advice, and there's so many pieces of advice based on the fact that we've learned what not to do. Not so much that we learned ahead of time what to do, is more we learned, don't do it this way again. and was infrastructure. That if we could think enough of the vision ahead of time, talk to people who had a farm, who were homesteading, find out their pros and cons, what they wish they would have done differently, read it in books, look on YouTube. We didn't, like I said, didn't have a lot of that access. We did know one family. There was others, but this was a predominant family in our life that really helped us. And we did have another family that had chickens, and we really learned a lot from them. But that, like Les said, this was like 27 years ago or 26 years ago, and it was helpful. But the thing was infrastructure. Les can tell you that we didn't know enough. We knew some, but we didn't know enough and realize things we had to redo.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of redos. And when you're putting up a fence and getting the infrastructure of the property with the fence and cross fence or whatever fencing you want to do within that fence, and then you have to move that fence.
The last thing you want to have to do is move fences.
Yeah.
It is time consuming, which takes you away from the other projects you've got to get to. And it's just frustrating to have to go, gosh, I wish we'd have done this different the first time. So one of the things somebody said was, when you buy your property or before you start setting up your infrastructure, walk around it, see where you go the most. You know, what paths do you take? What's the flow of your property?
Yeah.
You know, where do you put a barn? And you may buy a property that already has a barn and not have a whole lot of choice in that sort of thing. But fences, they take a lot of time and money and effort, and to have to move a fence takes even more time and effort. We've done it way too many times.
We've had many frustrated seasons.
Yes.
Of fence moving. That's not always fun to do that. One thing that we didn't have access to, or we didn't have a lot of knowledge about back then, was one thing probably had it to do over in this day and age would be to fence the perimeter of where I think I want everything to be. Then wherever I think I want everything to be, go bigger. So if you're going to take the perimeter of your property and fence it, well, that's as big as you can go.
Right.
If you're taking the perimeter of your property and you're bringing it in a good bit, and you're thinking, oh, I only want to use this amount, you may want to go, let's go and expand that, because it's kind of along the line of chicken math. You start to think you only want this, and then you like it and it grows, whatever it may be. So my suggestion would be to fence the perimeter of your space that you want or you can afford, and then you may want to try electric fencing as your cross fencing for a while.
Yeah.
That way you can decide, oh, do I like these chickens over here? Like we have chicken netting fencing. And the reason we have that is because we rotationally graze. Well, we don't want to permanently cross fence a bunch of places. So because the same problem 7 years later is still can be the same problem, because we're doing, our vision changes, or we do new things, or we add something. No matter all the planning in the world, doesn't mean you're going to avoid this, but
you're going to make changes.
You're going to make changes because visions can change over time.
We went from 25 laying hens to 150 laying hens, and we've now got 350 laying hens.
And actually, that even changed. The part that you didn't throw in was we started with, like, I don't even know what we started with back 27 years ago. We had just a little
small flock, 25 birds.
I don't even know if it was 50. That many. It was just like, oh, I got some chickens from these people, and oh, these people wanted to give us chickens, and these people, it was just a thing like that. But when we started ordering chickens, we ordered always around 25 every time we wanted to redo the flock. Well, then one day we ordered 200. That's when we started rotationally grazing.
Yeah.
Les built a big old
was not optional.
So we ordered 200 because my chicken math went really fast. And then after that, when we finally got rid of that flock, when they got older and we had need to get rid of that flock, then the next time we ordered 50. Then later we got 50 again. things like that. And then we ordered. Then eventually we didn't order the 150. We just kept building it.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, we had 150. Then we had like 400. And then we sold the 150. But somewhere in all that was other little flocks, I didn't talk about. But and so visions can change. Our vision changed.
Oh,
It wasn't just
the purpose changed.
For us. Wasn't just a homestead flock for our family and maybe a few friends. It became a business.
Yeah.
As far as egg business, and for us, it became that. But the thing, I think the main point, I guess we're trying to convey here is
Planning and infrastructure.
Yeah. Doing that research.
Yeah. Spending some time evaluating your property and what works, what probably won't work. Because originally we had our chickens closer to the house when it was a small flock, and we didn't realize, even with that flock of 25 laying hens, how much scratching around they do, and how much actual damage they do to the ground while they're scratching around looking for something to eat. Of course, we were supplementing with store-bought feed, but they're always going to scratch around and look for something to eat, and we were like, okay, we need more area, so we moved them further down into the field.
Well, first, one of the things I didn't like, and I'm sure most less didn't like either, was the fact they were so close to the house created all the poo and then created all the flies.
Yeah.
Even though chickens are really good at eating fly larvae and bug and stuff, they can't get it all. And next thing you know, we're just like going,
Can't
man,
sit
it's
on the
just
deck.
way too many flies for us. So then we started, and then the dirt patch, like he would say, just a scratch. It was just mud and dirt patches, too big for my liking.
And too close to the house.
And I was like, we need to move them just a little farther so we can still enjoy them. I don't know if you can see down our property.
You know, maybe hear them.
You could. The flock that we have now is way down there, and we can see them from our house. The camera may not can pick them up, but we can see them from a house where they are right now. And we can still hear them, and we enjoy that. We enjoy the sound of chickens. We enjoy the sound, but the issue that we didn't enjoy when they were too close to our house, we had to change some things up to get them further out. We had to move some fences or build extra fences to get them to where, and even though they're fully free range, they're going to be free range. They may be free ranged on a fenced, 4 acres or something down there. I'm not sure how big that is down there, but about that, yeah. And we're actually built. You think we'd be done with fences in all these years, but we're actually expanding the fence again because when we went to 150 to 300, they need a lot more space to move about. So we're expanding now.
They need time for that grass to grow back.
Yeah, to about 7 acres.
Yeah.
But that's a bigger production. Not most homesteaders don't have that and don't need that. They're just trying to enjoy bringing the food back to the table. Have some
country life.
Country life, bringing your own eggs in, bringing in your maybe
supplying some friends and family.
Yeah, bringing in the vegetables the way you want it. Okay, so let me tell you another thing, that a lot of this couldn't be helped, but some of it could be helped. So when we decided to set up our garden, we live back. We're in the country, so our front yard is, a few
3
acres.
acres.
We have a bigger piece. We're not in a smaller little piece like we used to be, but it's enough to where putting a garden in our front yard was normal. It was okay to do.
The house is way back on the first pasture, so the backyard is relatively small and lots of trees close by. So there's not a lot of sunshine on the backyard part behind the house.
Right, exactly.
And the next furthest piece behind is probably 300 feet, which is a long walk with produce from a garden.
Right.
So we put the garden in the front yard.
Right, and that's where Les wanted it more than me because I was trying to find another way to keep it out of the front yard. But it made sense where he wanted it. Now we had an in-ground garden, just a few raised beds, that's all. So all these years we've been dealing with an in-ground garden. Well, we're older, and I wanted to switch to raised beds.
I'm older, but
I want to switch to raised beds. For mainly me, we didn't mind having some in ground for certain vegetables, but so we started working on raised beds. Well, two couple of things. One, the raised beds are too far for me. I wished we'd have never put them where we did, but guess what? It's not easy always redoing an established raised bed, and we have several. Now today, Les was out. We have a row of blackberries and a row of blueberries and a row of elderberries that we propagated and planted, and we realized because of the way we set it up, he can't really get the lawnmower in between some of it, and the weeds are terrible.
Man. And then you go fertilize those things, and you're fertilizing weeds along with it, and it got to like almost jungle
crazy
status.
And so we wished we would have really thought that through and looked into that better and get the width of the lawnmower and get the width of everything and go,
We bought a new lawnmower is what it was. I went from a 54-inch to a 60.
But no, we didn't have it in the 54. You couldn't hardly get down all of it.
It was tight, but it would do better.
Yeah, it did.
But we did plant them all too close together, actually.
So in the end, we're gonna have now. Here's another thing. Where we planted the elderberries.
I feel a redo coming on.
Oh yes, where we planted the elderberries, they grow so big and so fast.
Gosh, they're huge.
That our blueberries are behind them, and we didn't realize all of that. So now we've got blueberries that can't get sun.
Yep,
so now we were talking today, we're gonna have to uproot. These blueberries are probably 5 years old. We planted the elderberries just a couple years ago. Maybe the blueberries are older than that. Maybe about 6 years old, whatever.
Yeah.
Probably 5 or 6. We planted the elderberries just a couple years ago. They took off, literally a weed took off, and hiding the blueberries. So we're talking today, this fall, which is the best time of transplanting, things like that in the fall, is we're going to have to uproot those blueberries and transplant them along, in front of the
on the other side.
Side of the elderberries.
Elderberries get huge. Like Richie said, it's basically a weed. The advantages of elderberries, by the way, are it's a natural antiviral, which we may get defunded for this, but
we're not getting funded, period.
Well, we may not get funded.
I wish we were.
During COVID, that was one of the things people were saying to take to help strengthen your body against COVID, and they got bumped off YouTube. So
you mean deplatform, not defund.
Yeah.
Hey, it'd nice if I had a little money, but we don't.
Get shoved way down the algorithm.
But no, it was an anti.
So we propagated some
that we already had on the property,
and they got huge. There's one of them that's probably 8 feet tall.
In 2 years.
Yeah.
We're into it. It's going into the 3rd year, and it's already at least 8 or 9 feet tall. So we're really excited about that. Going to extract that. The negative side is, had we planted them somewhere else, we wouldn't have to be uprooting now like 12 blueberry plants that we're going to have to uproot. But it's
all part of farm life, homesteading.
It really is.
You move stuff around, and we may move the blueberries, they may die, but you can buy more blueberries right now. If we were in a situation where you couldn't buy blueberries anymore, which would be a bad situation, it would be different. It's starting to sprinkle.
Yeah, it's starting to sprinkle on us.
But, things change. Then you have to move stuff. It happens. You change what your idea is, You start small, hopefully, and you grow bigger. Hopefully you don't start huge and grow smaller. That's usually a bad sign.
Well, maybe unless you go, my vision changed.
Yeah.
Like us, we're getting older. A lot of people want to start sizing down.
Yeah.
Or they've been there, done that. And they go, I don't really want
We keep sizing up for some reason.
Good grief, I don't know why. Sometimes I think we ought to just move back to the city.
Go get us a condo somewhere.
Yeah, get a condo.
Don't have to cut grass.
All we need is a weed eater.
Don't have to go feed animals. Don't have to go water animals.
But it's like, look at it. I mean, look where we're sitting now. There's beauty. If you're thinking about homesteading, I'm looking back on our property. your property doesn't have to be that big. It could still be just a couple acres. People homestead and own a 1 acre or mega homestead. There's micro farming books, micro homesteading
written
books.
about homesteading on 1 acre.
And most people do. Even if they had 10 acres. Most of what they do is just in a small little.
We're on
little
38 acres, and we probably don't have. Our homestead's probably 5 acres, 6 acres right now. The front, that's counting front yard cutting grass as homesteading.
Oh no, it's.
But as far as the garden,
Yeah.
and where the chickens and the sheep are,
Probably 6. We're expanding it to about.
and of course we're about to expand part of that into another
About
part
8
of the
acres,
field.
8 acres.
But
Probably.
yeah, I mean,
It's not necessary. Though.
no, that's just because, well, the lay of our land is kind of a hill behind the house here, and we got a lot of trees. We're about 10 acres of pasture, 28 acres of trees. So, I mean, the layout of our pastures, our fields on the property, kind of force you to do certain things a certain way. And you can work within that, or you can work against it and pull your hair out trying to work against it, because that's not really an option. So you put things where you think they'll work best, and sometimes you find out that didn't work out so good. And,
Right.
you know, part of what we're doing as far as talking with y'all about this is sharing the successes and the failures, the stuff that doesn't work. Sometimes is just as important as the things that do work.
Well, and that's really what we need to do as a video on is some of our things we said
All
we
the
wish
screw ups
we
we've
knew,
done.
that we wish we'd we go, well, we won't do that way again.
We could write a thick book on
We
that.
could. But like Les said, it's just a part of it. But the main reason we jumped on, just to do this real quick impromptu, is about this couple that we got to thinking about and going, how amazing that they have access to be able to research it all.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been researching it for a couple of years because they really wanted to get it right before they launched out into what they were doing. They didn't rush it. I mean, you don't need a couple of years. Some people may want to go longer. Some people may want to go shorter.
You don't want your research time to be what you wind up just doing research. You do need to pull the trigger on some
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. If you can financially,
Yeah.
pull the trigger, jump out there and just enjoy it and have fun. This is not a video on a list of everything. This was just us sharing, kind of just right off about this couple and how nice it was to meet them. And
It kind of triggered memories for us of when we
Yeah.
first started, when we first moved to this country. And
oh, I'll tell you one thing before we go. Talking about infrastructure and all that, one thing Les discovered, because, you know, we don't have rabbits anymore, though we need to get them again. The main reason we want them is for poo for our garden.
fertilizer.
That's the main reason we want them. But we have rabbits, of course we have dogs, and we have sheep, we have beehives, and we have chickens. That's our main thing. And so we have to take care of all that. And Les said, you know, it's like the rabbits were kind of like out of the way or whatever. And he was
Off the path.
he was talking and he said, I need to make sure everything's set up streamlined for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go way over here to do this and back over here to do that. And that's what it was. Our rabbits were one direction, dogs were one direction, and then we had baby chicks that were like
Across the yard on
this
the other
way,
side
and
of the
then
yard.
they were that way, and then we had meat birds at that time, and they were down there over there, and he goes, okay, hold up, we need to streamline.
Get everything in
We
a
need
straight
to,
shot.
as best we can streamline. So when I'm going out or we're going out, it's just, let's just kind of do it like that. And that's how he wanted it. That may not be your needs, but that was the way he wanted it. He wanted to make everything as readily available in, I guess, fewer steps
Yeah.
as possible to get to them and to
Well,
take care
I'm
of
still
everything.
working on business in town, and I do this on the side.
It's a hobby.
Actually, I say it is I go back to work to get some rest because of the projects out here. But if I can streamline it to where it's as few steps as possible, it just makes it easier on everybody.
Right.
Because if I
Yeah.
come in after having to zigzag all across the property, I come back a little frustrated, and that doesn't help. So,
No, not at all.
what
Not
are you
at all.
saying? You saying I'm grumpy?
No, he
Get
doesn't
off my
like that.
lawn.
He doesn't like that. But want to thank you for listening and being a part of Easy Farms. We do really appreciate it. If you take just a moment, if you have any questions, make comments, feel free to do that. We will get back with you on that. I would appreciate if you hit the subscribe button, share and save any of that. Follow us. We do have a podcast that kind of hit or miss on with things going on in our life, but we do have that. It's Easy Farms Homestead. You can look at that, and yeah, and follow us. We got Instagram and Facebook. Instagram, both of them are Easy Farms Homestead at Instagram and Facebook. So, anything to say before you
Well,
go?
just again, thanks for watching, and look forward to putting out the next one.